Think a clogged dryer vent is just an inconvenience? Well, think again. In this deep dive, we uncover how neglected dryer vents can silently affect your home, your energy bills, and even your safety, especially for Atlanta homeowners.
Yeah, it's an incredible topic, mostly because it's something almost everyone just completely ignores until it's, way too late.
Exactly. And our mission for today's deep dive is to really unpack a stack of sources we've got from property restoration and HVAC hygiene specialists. We want to understand the hidden hazards that are just uh, lurking right there in your laundry room.
Right, right. It's fascinating stuff once you actually look into it.
It really is. But before we get too far, I want to explicitly mention the sponsor making this deep dive possible. That's Hurricane Group. And you can reach them at 404-236-6343.
Oh, yeah, they do fantastic work.
They really do. They're an ICRC certified specialist, which basically means they hold like the absolute gold standard certification in the cleaning and restoration industry. They provide expert home care solutions,
Yeah.
air duct cleaning, water damage restoration, dryer vent cleaning, and even crawl space encapsulation right in Atlanta, Georgia.
We'll definitely talk a bit more about them later because their specific process is super relevant to what we're discussing today.
For sure. So keeping all of that in mind, I want to address you directly as a learner listening to this. You probably know to clean that little lint trap that sits, perfectly inside the dryer.
Right, the one everyone checks.
Yeah, exactly. You pull it out, swipe away that gray fuzz, slide it back in, and you feel like you've done your domestic duty for the day. But when was the last time you actually thought about the literal vent tube running from the back of that machine all the way through your walls to the outside of your house?
I mean, for most of us, the answer is just never. It's this huge blind spot. But if we look at this from an engineering and structural perspective, dryer vents are absolutely essential for proper airflow.
Essential, yeah. You called it a respiratory system earlier when we were chatting.
Yes, they are essentially the respiratory exhaust system for, honestly, one of the hardest working appliances in your home. And when that exhaust system gets choked off, it creates this massive cascading effect.
So it doesn't just stop at your jeans taking an extra 20 minutes to dry.
No, not at all. It triggers a chain reaction that ranges from, slowly bleeding your wallet to, quite frankly, catastrophic property damage.
I love that you call it a respiratory system because before a dryer vent becomes a massive hazard, the house usually tries to warn you that it can't breathe, right?
Exactly. It's like your laundry room has a built-in alarm system. You just have to know how to read the physical symptoms.
Right. So let's talk about that physical experience of doing laundry when this system is failing. What are the actual red flags we should be looking out for?
Well, when you look at the diagnostics on this from the sources, the signs are right there. The most universally ignored one is simply clothes taking longer to dry.
Which people just blame on an old machine.
Right. If you find yourself needing to run a second cycle for just one load of towels, that is not your dryer getting old. That is a massive red flag.
Because the dryer's doing its job, making heat, but the moisture literally has nowhere to go.
Precisely. But there are other more tactile symptoms too. For instance, if you touch the top of your dryer mid-cycle and it is unusually hot-like, uncomfortably hot to the touch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or if you pull your clothes out and the metal buttons or zippers literally burn your fingers. That's definitely not normal operation. You might also see excess lint or even pet hair stubbornly sticking to your clothing after a cycle.
Because the machine can't expel it out the vent? I've also noticed in the sources that they say the lint starts showing up in weird places.
Oh, yeah. Constantly.
Yeah. Like, you get this little fuzzy snowdrift gathering around the door seal, or you find a blanket of excess lint just falling behind the dryer on the floor.
Yes, because the air is desperately trying to escape through any tiny seam or gap it could possibly find. And another clear sign that often confuses people is a musty or moldy smell in the laundry room.
Okay, let's actually unpack this for a second, because why mold? A dryer is basically a giant convection oven. Shouldn't it just be killing everything with extreme heat?
What's fascinating here is the journey of that hot air. I mean, a dryer's entire job is to evaporate water out of your wet clothes. That water becomes hot steam.
Right.
In a healthy system, that steam is just blown right outside. But if the vent is clogged, that hot, moisture-heavy air just sits stagnant inside the metal vent tube hidden in your walls.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, and as the air eventually cools down, all that trapped steam condensates back into liquid water. So now, inside your dark walls, you have a mixture of wet lint and water just sitting there for days. It creates the absolute perfect, warm, damp breeding ground for mildew and mold.
That is so gross. So you're basically creating a terrarium inside your drywall.
Essentially, yes.
And if you go outside your house while the dryer is running and that little plastic vent flap on the side of your house isn't opening, that means the airflow is completely choked off. But here is where I need to stop you.
Oh.
Yeah, because I read something in our research that totally threw me. The sources list no lint on the lint screen as a major warning sign. Shouldn't an empty lint screen be a good thing? Like maybe my clothes just didn't shed much today.
It sounds super counterintuitive, but no, the lint isn't just, vanishing into thin air. This actually comes down to the physics of fluid dynamics and back pressure.
Okay, explain back pressure to me like I'm 5, because that sounds like heavy engineering jargon.
Fair enough. Imagine blowing through a straw. Now imagine plugging the other end of that straw with your finger and trying to blow again.
The air has nowhere to go.
Exactly. It pushes back against you. That resistance is back pressure. In your dryer, the blower motor is trying to shove air down the vent tube. If there's a huge clog of lint down the line, the air hits that wall and bounces back.
Okay, I follow you so far.
The pressure inside the machine builds up so immensely that the air starts finding the path of least resistance. Instead of flowing neatly through the lint screen like it's supposed to, the chaotic air currents force the lint to bypass the screen entirely.
Wait, really? It just skips the trap?
Yes. It gets blown around the edges, pushed deep into the internal electrical cabinet of the dryer itself, or just gets jammed even harder into the clog in the wall.
So an empty lint screen doesn't mean you're in the clear. It actually means the system is so heavily backed up that the trap has basically been rendered completely useless.
Correct. The lint is just getting compacted somewhere you can't see it.
That is terrifying.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's where this stops being just an annoying chore and turns into a literal life safety hazard. I mean, while burning your fingers on a hot zipper or dealing with a musty smell is incredibly annoying, the real reason restricted airflow matters is the buildup of intense heat.
Right, because a dryer works by pushing hot air out.
Exactly. If you restrict that exhaust, the heat is trapped in a metal box with a glowing heating element.
So we've officially gone from damp towels to a major fire hazard. And the statistics you pulled from the U.S. Fire Administration data in our sources are genuinely alarming.
The numbers are grim, honestly. They really wake you up to the reality of this. A clogged dryer vent is a leading cause of residential fires in Georgia. Nationally, there are 2,900 home-closed dryer fires reported every single year.
2,900 fires a year, just from doing your laundry.
Yes, and those fires cause an estimated 5 deaths, 100 injuries, and $35 million in property loss annually. But here's the most critical data point. A massive 34% of these fires are simply categorized as being caused by the failure to clean the dryer. It's not a mechanical defect. It's not a lightning strike or a power surge. It is literally just neglecting to clean the tube.
I was trying to visualize how this actually combusts, and it essentially sounds like you're building a campfire inside your house.
That's a good way to look at it.
Think about it. When you make a fire, you need kindling, right? Something incredibly dry, airy, and fibrous that catches a spark instantly. Dryer lint is the ultimate kindling. Survivalists literally pack it in their bags to start fires in the woods.
Exactly. It's pure fuel.
So you take this perfect kindling and you line a metal tube with it. Then you restrict the exhaust, which traps all the heat, and you surround a glowing hot electrical heating element with it. You've accidentally built a literal fire starter kit right inside your laundry room.
That is a phenomenal analogy. And the data actually shows us exactly when this campfire is most likely to ignite. These fires aren't distributed evenly throughout the year.
Oh, they aren't.
No, they peak heavily in the fall and winter months, specifically around January.
Oh, January. Is it just because we're inside more?
Partially, yeah, but it's mostly about the workload and the ambient temperature. Think about what you're washing in January. You are drying heavier, thicker fabrics, chunky sweaters, fleece blankets, heavy coats.
Oh, right. Winter clothes.
Right. Those materials produce vastly more lint than summer t-shirts. So you are instantly increasing the fuel supply. At the same time, the ambient air pulling into your house is colder, meaning the dryer's heating element has to work significantly longer and get much hotter just to reach the baseline temperature needed to dry those heavy clothes.
Wow. So you have a massive increase in highly flammable fuel, a heating element running hotter and longer than usual, and a blocked exhaust trapping all of that extreme heat. It's basically a perfect storm.
It is, which naturally raises an important question. How do we disrupt this deadly equation? And the answer is regular professional cleaning.
Which removes the fuel.
Exactly. It completely removes the fuel source for these fires, making it arguably the most critical preventative maintenance task for any home with an indoor laundry room.
We are going to get into exactly how to disrupt that deadly equation in just a second, because I know people are wondering how to actually solve this without ruining their house. But first, I want to take a quick pause to shine a spotlight on the sponsor, making today's deep dive possible.
Absolutely.
If you are in the metro Atlanta area, you need to save this number in your phone right now. Call Hurricane Group at 404-236-6343. We mentioned them at the top of the show, but I really want to highlight their reputation here.
They're highly rated, right?
Oh, they are absolute rock stars in this space, boasting over 800 five-star reviews for their services. Hurricane Group is the leading specialist in HVAC hygiene and property restoration. They provide ISCRC certified solutions, which again is the gold standard for this industry.
That certification matters a lot.
It really does. And they don't just do expert dryer vent cleaning in Atlanta and GA. They provide high-end home renovations, water damage emergency response, air duct cleaning, and crawl space encapsulation. They are your trusted go-to experts for total property health. Again, explicitly telling you, call the sponsor now. That is Hurricane Group at 404-236-6343.
And returning to our discussion, it's really vital to understand what an expert service like that actually entails. Because I guarantee you, there are people listening right now thinking, hey, I have a shop vac in the garage. I could just shove the hose a few inches into the wall and call it a day.
I'll admit that was honestly my first thought. Or I know someone is listening and thinking, I can just buy a $20 drill attachment on Amazon with a little brush and do it myself. Why is that a bad idea?
Well, because the anatomy of a dryer vent is rarely just a straight 2-foot pipe through a wall. They usually have elbows, 90-degree turns, and they might run 10, 20, or even 30 feet through interior walls, up into attics, or out through the roof.
So a household vacuum isn't getting anywhere near the real clog.
Not even close. It only reaches the first few inches.
Yeah.
And those cheap DIY drill attachments, they are absolutely notorious for snapping off deep inside the vent.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So now, instead of just a lint clog, you have a massive knot of compacted lint and a broken plastic brush permanently stuck in your wall. And you end up having to hire a contractor to rip open your drywall just to get it out.
Man, that is a total nightmare. So what does the professional process actually look like then?
Well, Hurricane Group utilizes a highly specific 3-step deep clear process. Step 1 is the airflow analysis. Before they even start cleaning, they use specialized diagnostic tools to measure the static pressure and airflow velocity inside the vent.
Okay, there's another technical term. What does static pressure actually tell them?
Think of static pressure like taking the blood pressure of your house. It measures how hard the air is pushing against the walls of the vent to find an escape.
Okay. That makes sense.
If the static pressure is abnormally high, it tells the technician exactly how severe the blockage is before they even look inside. This isn't a guessing game for them. They are medically diagnosing the exact location and severity of the clog.
Okay, so they've taken the vitals. They know exactly what they're dealing with. What's step 2?
Step 2 is mechanical scrubbing. The technicians use specialized industrial-grade flexible rods attached to rotating brush heads. These aren't those cheap plastics from the hardware store. They are designed to navigate the sharp twists and turns of the vent line without breaking.
That's a relief.
Yeah, and as they feed this line through, it mechanically scrubs the interior walls of the pipe, dislodging years of compacted, hardened lint that a simple vacuum suction could just never break free.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Using your blood pressure analogy from earlier, this sounds less like basic household cleaning and more like, well, arterial surgery for your house.
It really is.
They're going in with a tiny flexible roto-rooter to literally scrape out the plaque in the veins of your home so the house can finally breathe again.
That's precisely what it is. And to finish that surgery, step 3 is the final high-pressure flush. Once all that plaque is mechanically broken off the walls of the pipe, they use a specialized high-velocity air system.
Just blowing it all out.
Exactly. It acts like a massive lung, blowing all those loose particulates out of the line entirely. And this final flush also serves a dual purpose. It verifies that the exterior vent cover on the outside of your house is actually functioning correctly, opening fully to allow maximum airflow now that the blockage is gone.
So how often are we supposed to be performing this arterial surgery on our homes? Is this a set it and forget it for a decade kind of thing?
Oh, definitely not. The maintenance timelines are pretty clear on this. The National Fire Protection Association, the NFPA, along with specialists like Hurricane Group, strongly recommend this professional cleaning once a year for a standard household.
Okay, once a year, that's not too bad.
No, it's not. However, if you have a larger family running multiple loads of laundry a day, or if you have pets that shed a lot of hair like golden retrievers, huskies, or heavy-shedding cats, that timeline shrinks.
That makes sense. So how often then?
You should really be looking at a professional cleaning every 6 to 9 months to maintain absolute safety and peak efficiency.
So we've established that ignoring this turns your laundry room into a ticking fire hazard. But even if you're lucky enough to avoid a fire, the slow choking of that vent is quietly bleeding your wallet every single month.
Yes.
Which naturally brings us to the financial ROI, the return on investment. Let's break down the actual dollars and cents. According to the research, a professional residential cleaning in Atlanta ranges from $125 to $225.
Which is pretty reasonable.
It is. And that fluctuation just depends on the length of your specific vent and whether the exit is easily accessible on a first floor side wall or if they have to, climb up onto a steep roof.
Exactly. That $125 to $225 is your upfront cost. But let's look at what you get back almost immediately. Restoring proper ventilation reduces your drying time by up to 50%.
Wow, 50%.
Yeah. When your dryer doesn't have to fight against a solid wall of back pressure, it runs optimally. This efficiency allows the dryer to finish a cycle in half the time, which potentially saves the average homeowner $15 to $25 on their monthly utility costs.
Wait, $20 a month is $240 a year? That means the cleaning literally pays for itself in energy savings in the first 12 months alone.
The math checks out.
You aren't actually losing any money. You are just shifting it from the electric company to a service that proactively protects your house.
And that is just the direct utility savings. The secondary savings are arguably even more valuable.
Because of the wear and tear.
Exactly. Shorter drying times mean your clothes aren't being subjected to excessive, trapped heat. When your vent is clogged, your clothes are basically tumbling inside a sealed convection oven.
Which ruins them.
Oh, completely. That extreme, prolonged heat cooks the elastic in your socks, breaks down the fibers in your favorite t-shirts, and causes severe fading. So a clean vent actually keeps your favorite garments looking brighter and lasting significantly longer. And beyond your wardrobe, think about the appliance itself.
Right, because the motor isn't straining against that back pressure, and the heating element isn't working overtime just to get the job done.
Precisely. You are drastically reducing the mechanical strain on the machine. The motor, the belts, the heating coils, they will all have a vastly extended lifespan, saving you from having to go to a big box store and buy a brand new $1,000 machine 5 years prematurely.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really changes how you view home maintenance entirely. Preventative care like this is an investment that actually yields a return.
It really is.
You're trading a small, predictable annual cost for immediate energy savings, prolonged appliance life, the preservation of your wardrobe, and, most importantly, total peace of mind regarding your family's fire safety. It has to be one of the highest return on investment actions you can take for your property.
It truly is. It is the definition of a hidden hazard with a highly accessible, highly logical solution.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? To summarize our core message today, regular dryer vent maintenance is about way, way more than just the convenience of having your towels dry in a single cycle.
For sure.
It actively protects your home from devastating, rapidly spreading fires. It massively improves your home's energy efficiency. It prevents hidden mold and mildew growth inside your walls from all that trapped condensation. And it prolongs the life of both your expensive appliance and your entire wardrobe.
You really just cannot afford to ignore it.
Absolutely not. So don't wait until you smell smoke, or pull out burning hot clothes, or see your utility bill spike in January. Call the sponsor now, Hurricane Group, phone 404-236-6343. Protect your home, improve efficiency, and ensure peace of mind.
And as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over. Think about the sheer amount of energy running through your home right now. The electricity pulsing through the wires, the heat being generated, the pressurized water in the pipes. If a single blocked exhaust tube, the width of a grapefruit, can quietly cost you hundreds of dollars a year in wasted electricity and pose a lethal fire risk, what other invisible systems in your house are quietly begging for just an hour of professional maintenance?